Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Canadian Collegiate League VOD Winter Series 2025 Phase 1. We have an exciting week 3 for Group A here with Concordia University Crimson versus Conestoga Condors. I'm Kaiser and I'm here with the lovely multitudes. How are you today? Can't quite hear
I
what you're
I am
saying, but
muted. I am muted. Tech issues. I do apologize. I do 100% apologize about that. But thank you so much for having me here on CCL. The third week we have for Valorant, and with some, like you said, we've got some bangers of a few matches here between a bunch of alliteration, C's all around Concordia and the Condors, and
and
I'm
Canadian
just ready to
Collegiate.
bring the fight. Exactly. And exactly. It's just non-stop right now. But I'm ready to bring the hype to the viewers right now.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, I think this is going to be a banger matchup. Now, I mean, it does stand to be said right now. We're only in week 3. Condors at 2-0 haven't found a loss yet, while Concordia is still fighting for that win. 0-2 right now in the series. But again, it's only week 3. There's only been 2 games, and we were kind of talking in the green room before. I mean, some of the matches were close there for Concordia. We just weren't able to bring home a win yet in the series. But I know they're fighting for it. This really the stage phase 1 is that round robin in each of these groups. So in group A,
Yep.
right? Everyone's fighting for that playoff spot to come, but yeah. Um Again, only week 3, but definitely looking forward to see what they're going to bring because I know they're eager for that win.
They are eager for that win, and it's still early days, but Concordia do need to lock in to be able to get some dubs under the belt in order to really stand a good chance in being the top, the top half of the group stages. And when we get to it, we'll talk about the map picks. They're trying their best to use that to their
Mhm.
advantage, but I also want to be able to see them come together and play a little bit, just a little bit more coordinated. They've looked a little frazzled in the past, a bit lost, like a little like lost sheep,
Mhm.
sometimes not knowing where to push and move around. But but hopefully they've had some chance to work with their coaches over the last week or so and pull themselves a few new strats so they can move into this third week just fighting basically.
Yeah, and I definitely agree, and some of these rounds were pretty close. They weren't quite able to uh, take some home. And I think maybe one thing they could be lacking is consistency because I think when they're winning, it looks good. But then it just they let some rounds get away from them. And we know a game like Valorant
Mm.
is so the economy buildup is so important. And so when you really allow your opponents to kind of snowball that economy, it becomes harder and harder to take home some of those round wins and eventually right the game in series. So I think they're a good team. I know they're fighting for a win, and maybe that little bit of desperation is going to be a buff going into this week 3. And Condors, on the other hand, right, they can't get too cocky. They're up 2-0. They know Concordia hasn't had a win. I think if they don't lock in and they're like, "You know what? This is easy. We're not taking it seriously." They have to watch out. So, again, you look at the series and you're like, "Man, this is easy." But remember, like, there's only been 2 games so far.
And no, that's very true. It is the Condors to lose here. They do seem to have the slight advantage, like you talked about, and they've been like finalists for a few other tournaments that we've seen as well. And so they feel good. They feel strong. It is like you called it, theirs to lose. And so it's kind of a little bit like the Titan. No, not Titan. Goliath. Who goes against Goliath? Help me out here.
The
the the
David
the
and Goliath?
Bible. Thank you. It's a little like that. I apologize. I trying to get my metaphors into place here, but it could exactly be like that. We could see a bit of a turnaround here if things, just go a little towards the way of Concordia. So we'll see how this plays out, especially with these interesting map picks. We've got three beautiful map picks here in this best of three. And the first on the board here is Bind being, currently Concordia, one of Concordia's better maps.
I mean, we look at their series last week, and they did lose that series 0-2. And they started on Vine though, and they took home 10 rounds. So that was pretty close. I'm not surprised to see that they're looking to go here. I think they do have the
Yep.
potential to take this one home. Of course, their second
Yep.
map was Lotus last week, and they lost 2-13. So not quite as close as Vine was. So I think right now, if you're Concordia, you're thinking, okay, we have to take home a win on Bind because you have to think, right? If you lose here, Bind, you're maybe losing on Lotus if you allow your confidence to kind of slip a little bit. So obviously you want to take home 2 wins, but definitely need to lock in here on this first map of Bind.
Very much so. And then looking on the other side of the banner here, the Conestoga Condors, if you just look at their last week's performance, they actually performed both on Bind and Lotus. They've won themselves out against the Queen's Varsity Gold 13-3, 13-8. So from a demonstration point of view, yes, Condors has looked like they've brought the strats onto Bind, onto Lotus. And we'll kind of see how that first map goes, especially because it is Concordia's
Mhm.
uh, map pick. It is their best performing map so far, and then maybe, hopefully, as the casters like to see it, we move into a map three and bring a little more Valorant action to the masses. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I'm a Pearl enjoyer.
Yo,
I would love to go
yeah.
to Mount 3. I would love to get a Pearl. But of course, if you're, these 2 teams, you're really hoping to finish it out in 2 maps. You don't wanna give your opponents that chance, but I selfishly would love to go to Map
Of
3.
course. It's always production is like, yes, give us map three, give us map fives. But you're absolutely right. It is a marathon, and these folks do want to close it out ASAP. And it's a marathon not just from a physicality point of view, but everyone remember it's also a mental game, right? And if you can
Mm.
sustain good mental, hopefully you have a vibe merchant on your team as well. Like it can go, it can really swing heaven and hell depending on the players and the stats and stuff like that. So kudos to these teams for really grinding it out and moving through these group stages.
I just wanna touch on what you just said, Multitude. I definitely think Valorant is such a mental game, right? If you allow your confidence to slip because, everyone loses rounds, everyone wins rounds, that's how these games go, but, as soon as you start getting in your head about that, I mean, that might as well be the game there. You're throwing in the towel. So you're right. If you have that vibe merchant, if you're able to keep good, I've definitely seen some ridiculous comebacks, and that can only happen if you're able to be like, you know what, this is a new round, and each round is a new opportunity to kind of bring it back. But you have to be willing to let that happen.
That is true. That is true. Focus on the round by round. You just cross over the finish line when you get there, and hopefully that keeps your mental up high. But as the players here come into the lobby and we pull ourselves together, do you have any predictions so far in terms of who you believe is gonna get the dub in this best of three? Is it gonna be kind of like the underdogs or the tried and true winners so far?
I mean, I have to say at my core, I'm always rooting for the underdog, so I really would like to see
Yo,
Concordia take the win here, but, I mean, the Condors have been looking strong so far in this league, and, I I don't know, I don't know. I'd love to see the underdog, and really, I mean, we call Concordia the underdogs, but they're they're not true underdogs. I mean, yeah, they're 0-2 in the standings right
true.
now, but, they've been playing in CEA, and they've had a couple top 8 finishes, and a few top 16 as well. And last year in the Canadian Intercollegiate tournament, they actually finished second. So we're calling them the underdogs, but are they? I don't know.
Very true. Very true. Maybe it's you're right. Maybe it's way too early to tell, and both teams do need a lot more time, a lot more runway to be able to showcase themselves and prove themselves in this. I don't quite know. If you put a gun to my head, I might go for the Condors. In terms of the win pick so far, I think their bind plays are also very, very strong, especially because they're starting on the defensive side, and so
Yeah.
they may be able to pull off the momentum to just carry themselves
Mhm.
through. But on Twitch chat, we do have the predictions with your channel points as well, so be sure to put that in, and tell us who you think is gonna win this current best of three, and put one dub under their belt here moving forward.
Yeah, definitely excited to kind of take a peek and see who you guys are kind of expecting to win. But I mean, I do think I do have to agree with you, multitudes. If there were a gun to my head, I might have to go Condors here. It also a good team, right? And they were NECC finalists 3 times. Insane.
Yeah.
And lots of good, I mean, collegiate talent on both of these teams. But so who do I think will win or who am I rooting for? That's I'm always a fan of the underdogs, but, you have a harder path to get there when you're down. So, I don't know.
Very true.
Um
Very
I'm
true.
I'm excited. I think they can do it, but you're right. You gotta the vibe merchants have to be on your team today if you want that to happen.
Absolutely have to be dishing out nonstop. And looking at Twitch chat right now, it looks like it's kind of split half half. You get a good number of people supporting both teams, so it's brilliant to see players and friends who turn up and support 100%. These folks performing in the lobby today in the servers can feel it. So I make sure you scream and support these players right now as they get into it. And furthermore, we have coaches online as well. They're going to be viewing everything, and we want to be able to bring the best level of Valorant forth. So, do you think, talking about agent selects for that first map bind, what kind of do you think Teo is going to be chosen? I feel like Teo is going to be
Yeah,
absolutely chosen for bind.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Teo's just kind of broken right now. He's so strong, such a strong agent. And I know when we talk about right the pro play and the semi-pro play, I mean, you're seeing him everywhere. I collegiate's been a little bit of a hit and a miss, and I think in collegiate play, it's always fun to see what teams run because sometimes they run kind of like an
Yes.
off meta comp, and it works out phenomenally for them because they have different strats. They're playing who they're comfortable on, and they're able to just like go in there, frag out, have insane strats that their opponents don't really even know how to counter. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Teo because he's such a strong agent. I think I also am envisioning some teams going, you know what, we have scrimmed with this comp. We're comfortable with the comp we
Mm-hmm.
are. We're very strong in the agents we play and not wanting to kind of mess that up. So I think it could go either way, but I do genuinely think Tejo is such a strong agent right now.
I 100% agree. I think Teo, it's crazy how Riot Games just like bomb dropped one hell of an agent, right, so early on in the season, and I really think that we
Yeah.
are going to have a show match if anyone chooses Teo. I think Teo is generally
Yeah.
like a meta breaker. I think
Yeah.
as an agent themselves, maybe, and as an individual, not that strong. But when paired up with some of the other agents like Deadlock or Raze, you can really get
Mhm.
some insane combo wombos with the salvos, with the self drones, with the secret packages. It's absolutely wild what they can. Even with Yorus to be able to
Oh,
like
yeah.
get those Yoru teleports in deep in places that you have to use other bodies to clear. You can just clear with a quick salvo. So I think the combinations and possibilities are relentless.
Well, I mean, I don't think we'll have to speculate for too much longer. I think we're ready to go in there and see what agents these teams are picking. But I agree. I think also another place Tejo really shines is his ability to kind of shut down utility from other agents, right? You can break Killjoy utility easily from anywhere. You just send in um you just send in your utility. You have the stealth drone that kind of shuts that down almost like a it's, like, constantly, like, getting KO knifed, I think. So yeah, really strong.
Basically.
I am seeing a hover. I'm seeing 2 hovers with
Yeah.
KO.
Oh, this is so exciting as well. We've got both Marmut as well as YG kind of hovering over that.
Oh,
And on the Condor side, really, you have people like Santo and the Rays, Nivik hovering over that deadlock. A lot of great utility that can be comboed with Teo. So the entry potential or the retake potential from the Cardinals here is really high.
yeah, I am excited. Of course, we have one team who's locked in, the other one are just kind of hovering. But they've kind of been hovering this for a while, so I think it's safe to say that's at least a glimpse of the team we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised with the skies. Definitely, I think Raze is kind of a common duelist we see often here on this map, but it looks like maybe
Huh.
electing to go Jet. And I wouldn't be surprised to see
Yeah.
this double controller. I think that's been standard for so long, but the double controller, double initiator, there's a lot of maps really in the meta now that teams are not running those sentinels anymore. I don't know if Bind is necessarily the map that I would cut out a sentinel, but I definitely think there's validity in what they're running, especially with the addition of Tejo.
Yeah, that was interesting because they hovered over the chamber for a second. I thought, okay, I was gonna talk about
Yeah.
that because it is a very off meta choice as a sentinel. Then opting to drop it completely. Okay, yes, you've seen some like teams start running non-sentinel teams like you talked about. Here
Mhm.
we have basically double ini and double controllers. It's very unique to this setup, and I think what Concordia will need to bring here, trying to make some space on the attacking side, is the abuse of the teleporters, right? You have double smokes, you have double initiators. You really have to abuse your utility to take as much map control as possible, or else I don't think you'll be able to draw out as much from the Condors as possible.
I mean, I definitely agree. I do think utility is gonna kind of be what's gonna make or break these teams, and how are you using your agents? How are you playing together? I think we'll have a better idea once we get a couple rounds in. Of course, we're just starting here with the pistol, but I do think it's gonna give us a good indication of what's to come. Looks like though, getting ready here for an A hit.
Yeah, you see a lot of people grouped up around. Okay, looking like it's going to be a 4-1 split. The Viper left in a bit of a lurk position, and the classic lurk wall allows them to dash straight and take control of U-Haul.
Especially with that Tejo utility to clear that out, but they have to worry about Tejo utility themselves. That's going to be rough. Going to fall from that, but able to recover that spike and get it planted. Alchemy still stuck here off that deadlock wall. Beautiful shot. Looks for one. Trying to find YG. Can't quite do it. YG is going to pick off Alchemy 4v3 here. Oh. Lots of spaces to clear. That's a good use of the nades there. Oh, so close. So close to finding that last one, but it's going to be ultimately a round on the board here for the diffusers. Defenders get the first round.
First on the
Concordia.
board for Condors. Great kind of recovery there, right? The tail end, you know, wrapping Willy and Sunter themselves around that midsection of Bind to do a bit of a flank, and Alchemy could only secure one in the showers as well. So all in all, looking like Condors themselves, they feel pretty good with this. They're making space, but it's pistols, so it can really go either way. And now moving into the anti-eco round 2. We've got, Bulldogs, a Guardian, Stinger, Spectre, a bunch of stuff around the defenders, whereas Concordia opting for a full save, might I just add. Still leaving Alchemy or Viper on a bit of alert, plus that kind of default Viper wall. It's very classic to hold attention on the A side, but that's not where the spike is going. You see a lot of people grouped up and doing some orb farming on that B side.
Ult orbs are so important in a game like this. It can make or break, and it looks like rotating over towards this A site. Like you said, Viper able to kind of hold on to that utility. Going to be expended, but it's going to be hard to push through showers. That's enough time here for those rotations to come in. Only Jet left on that B site, but the spike isn't there. It's hard. It's hard when you're on that weapons disadvantage.
It is, right? And so this trade here with Kazuya is going to be crucial. Gets the drop on YG. The problem is Nivik has pushed up all the way. Look where Nivik is. Might get the absolute kill of a lifetime with the Spectre.
Spike down.
Gotta check your corners. You gotta check your corners. That's brutal. Nivik gonna find that third. Kazuya not able to make any more use with that Bulldog, but a beautiful, beautiful trade here from Alchemy. This are just the classic in hand. They're gonna spray right through that box. Another round on board here for the Condors. But again, I mean, you should really have been expecting to win that one. You had the weapons, but now 2 guns out of your hands going into what is the full buy for here. The Concordia team.
Yeah. The Condors, played that beautifully. Nivek just had the sense of wanting to re-clear some of these corners and push themselves deep into sands right there and get so much info. And so this is the playstyle moving forward, like Deadlock not necessarily just sitting on the heels waiting for those sonic traps to be activated, but really taking that active space. The wall comes down early as well to deny any movements. So that's an entire space blocked off, a bit more default approach as Condors explore the opposite side, really pushed out. Look at how far Beanster and Sunter have taken all that half map control on A side, and no one's here, so they should be knowing that it's going to be a bit of a B hit, especially when noise like that has been made.
How deliberate we're seeing Concordia being. They know they have these weapons, they don't want to lose them, but unfortunately that Tejo utility is going to bring down one of the guns. A good peek from Alchemy, but YG knows where they are. They're all going to push. Alchemy looking to find one more, but can't. Beanster finds one that is going to be some better rifles recovered too as well for Conestoga. Spike is planted.
And they position all these awkward angles as well, which is great for maybe getting first picks, but the trade is going to be a little harder for them.
Okay. One enemy remaining. Why did I sign up for this
the
shit?
end there. Being able to recover some of those rifles. That's tough. That's 2 rifles brought into the next one. And 3rd round on the board for Conestoga. And if you're Concordia, you're thinking, wow, our economy sure is shot. Going to be hard going into these next rounds. But Conestoga Condors looking as strong as ever. We knew going into it, this was going to be a tough matchup. But if you're Concordia, you really, really can't afford to kind of just lose some of that confidence, because these have been pretty close rounds, but at some point you're going to have to start converting those rounds.
You're right. The scoreline doesn't necessarily, describe how close some of these matches have been. It's down to some of the millimeters, milliseconds for both these teams right now. And Concordia University opting to do something a little bit more interesting, a bit more rush strat, especially with they have Stingers and and pistols in hand. The plant comes down quick and nothing's there to hold them back. Okay, nades were thrown just at the edge to deny that plant. A tap of the spike. Nothing more, nothing less so far.
Yeah, weren't quite able to get the spike down, but it's gonna be a quick rotate there through teleporter. Unfortunately, a lot of deadlock utility for them to work around. And because they couldn't push onto that B site fast enough, those rotations are starting to come through from the Condors. And now, Concordia just sort of waiting it out, seeing what they can do. Full rotations haven't quite come in yet from Conestoga. They'll have a chance to use their utility, get onto site. So 40 seconds left.
And they're going to be in a world of hurt as the exit comes out. They're going to be moving into a lot of stuns, which will give them information. Now, Condors are actually doing the smart thing. They have, the human advantage right now. They're pushing forward. Plus, the Armageddon comes out to deny this and allow for the rotates to come in nice and quick.
Yeah, I loved how Conestoga just kind of said, hey, you know what, we can wait. We have utility we can push off of, and that's really what separates a good team from a great team. Beautiful shot from Marmon, but again, not going to be enough. Marmud is going to fall. Diffuse going to come out. Beautiful, beautiful masterclass in utility usage here from Conestoga Condors.
Yeah, a bit of a consolation prize for Murmur. They're gonna be able to buy up now, and looking at their economies and their ultimates. We've got the Seekers online. We're one away from 3 ultimates: the Jet Knives, the Orbital Strike, the Viper's Pit. These are very, very strong ultimates. If Alchemy gets the plant on, has the bomb in hand as well, can get the Viper's Pit, they can play around it. This might be the turning point from Concordia, putting their first on the board. We'll really have to see if they can kind of utilize it. They're going to be moving into a pre-stacked site though, and so we'll see how they want to play around this, especially with the aggression that they always push out around showers, deep smoke as well, to be able to prevent any sort of movements into that shower control.
Yeah, Concordia has been doing a great job getting on to site. It's just the post planes they've been having issues with, but lots of good utility usage to get them in there. They can clear out U-Haul with that KO utility. They have that Viper wall to kind of push up off of, getting at least a little bit of plant money. Yeah. But look here, Conestoga holding site, using their utility to clear out some of this.
I've got your trail.
A good use of the Sky ult here from Concordia. They're gonna follow that right into U-Haul. Finds 2. Willie, just looking for a head, finds one, but knows there's more. And now 3v3, but unfortunately Concordia haven't been able to make their way on site like they have before. Now all to Nivek.
30 seconds
They find one with the ult, finds Marmud, and again, I mean, it's just like Conestoga knows how to use their ultimates to secure them the round.
Combat is
yeah, and there was only a single ultimate being invested on the side of Condors just to be able to secure themselves in a 1v2. Brilliant use of the Annihilation from Nivek as well. And honestly, a timeout that indeed has to be called here, and is called by Concordia. It looks like Coach Itzmelmo will have a bit of a discussion with the team members here from the University of Concordia. Nil 5, they need to be able to make this round work. 3 Ultimates Online has a lot of play potential. The last Rush strats had some great openers, especially from Kazuya working off those Seekers into U-Haul, but they just couldn't secure and get the plant down in time. There was a bit of a stalemate, and just Condors came out swinging just a little bit faster, hit those headshots just a little quicker, and secured the rounds for themselves. So if they can't play that kind of style, they really have to lurk around the map. And we saw the lurks come out just a little bit from Concordia during that second round, that anti-eco. You see Kazuya push up B, get that drop onto YG, and a repeat of that might be in order here. I wonder what else might be being discussed in the break room.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think this was a well-placed timeout. You want to use that timeout to kind of slow down the momentum early before you let too many rounds get away. These have been in pretty close rounds. I mean, I see the base like bare bones of what could be good plays here from Concordia. That ultimate not gonna find anything. 8 HP looking for just one head, able to make it out, but gonna peek right back into Willie's crosshair. Trades coming out. But it's hard when you're on this eco here if you're Concordia. Did it manage to find one? Going to use a Skydog
Down A.
to clear out. Looking for the head, can't quite find it. Beanster with 2 to finish up the round. Only lost 1 rifle, and it doesn't matter too much. You've won 6 rounds in a row. You can afford to buy again. Concordia, not quite the round they were probably hoping for after that timeout, but that's okay. That was their save. They're able to buy up here.
Indeed, and hopefully this is the point where, you know, they're gonna take coaches' wise words and put it into a bit of practice. They're gonna try and re-hit this A, looking like a 3-2 split. They've moved some players around. Teho's still gonna be pushing up those showers, trying to clear those corners, but Condors may be looking to do a little something of themselves, a bit more aggression, especially off that Sky. Flash doesn't catch anyone, and the dog as well to follow suit. And that showstopper pop's not going to be able to find anyone, so that's to use this opportunity to try and get a drop onto Willie, but does go wide just a little bit.
He's going to come out to try to hopefully secure some sight for them, and Willie can't find a head off of that. Lots of utility both sides. The double brim ult and Nivek able to just swing off that emphatic double before falling. A close round again, but Conestoga is going to come out on top. 7-0 right now.
Oh, close round, but absolutely no cigar just yet for the Concordia folks. Condors just feel so confident to be able to move in. I feel like they absolutely have the strat book on wide open on their laps right now. And it's just beautiful use. It's not to say that Concordia didn't have a strat play of their own, you know, knowing that that showstopper was popped through teleporter onto B Sands. They made haste onto that A, but just could not capitalize on it any further, unfortunately. So it is going to be them back on that save round. A Guardian in the hands of the in-house Jet right now, and Sheriffs across the board. Marmut back on that Armageddon, maybe seeing how they can use that, but for now, very slow pace of game. They want to be able to poke and prod and see if they can get first.
Spike down B.
Nice sheriff shots there from Alchemy. Unfortunately, though, not by Spike. Conestoga knows where they need to hold. And the last 2 players here of Concordia weren't able to recover a rifle from that. They're going to hope their sheriff shots can hit just as well as the last ones. But now you have 3 members to work with. You know that they know where Spike is. Lots of utility also on board, and Conestoga, no stranger to using it to secure them around. YG gonna peek into that and now knows. And look,
30
ready.
seconds left.
Oh, there it is. Plus the Molly as well to be able to secure that. But YG's just in the corner. First to drop was Nivik round this corner, and so they're gonna be scrambling to pick up that rifle. There's a lot of 1v1 potentials here for the side of Concordia, but they're gonna have to book it. It's only 10 seconds left, and the Viper Spit has been invested. Seekers also on the other side.
Great use to the Seekers. Willie gonna find one off of that. Alchemy hunting, finds YG, but the Seekers find them. Not enough time to get the plant down. I have to say though, Multi, I know that was ultimately the 8th round for the Condors, but all things considered, I think that was a very, very good round by Concordia, especially considering they were on like a little bit of a Chico round.
Yeah, no, it's true, it's true. They absolutely, you know, they grouped up, they tried to isolate the 1v1s, they had some good utility sense. It might take some time for them to warm up so far. They still need to put a first on the board. Unfortunately, that plant was just outside the Viper's pit, leading to an early exit of Chris Lablitz right at that tail end, running out of time as well. So Coming back to round number 9. Dog, early out, first kill. Beanstar just dropped. That is the smokes out of the way for the Condors. Might be the time to respond.
Spike down A.
These shots coming down, but still, Concordia fighting to make their way on site. Really just does such a great job of holding this. Kazuya found one in heaven, but that deadlock utility has been so hard
Spike
for
down
Concordia
A.
to work around.
One enemy
Has
remaining.
been caught as well, so it's all on white notes, and Kayuza just absolutely dropped to their knees. It's 9-0 Condors to Concordia. It's been absolutely non-stop, and honestly, Nivek, looking at that scoreboard, 12-5, just leading the charge for the Condors, being good not just in kills, but also just map awareness and intuition of where some of these attacker side players might be.
Yeah, and I think also, right, we talked about how you can play without a Sentinel, but I mean, I think just the deadlock utility has been really, really tough to play around. And I do think Concordia is doing a good job, but ultimately you have to expend utility or play a little bit slower. A good pick there from Chris. Does give them numbers advantage, but again, still not able to make their way on site. That Viper's wall going to go down, and they were not able to creep up from that. Still gonna inch here through showers. It's looking
Yeah,
to
they haven't
isolate
quite
some of
done
these
yet
fights.
just yet.
Mm-mm.
Isolate indeed, and they want to be able to hit that A, but it's looking like a bit of a tall order, especially it's a stack site.
And Willie hunting for Mahmoud. And it's going to find him, but Kazuya able to come up before getting traded out. But Beamster Plant is going to go down finally. Numbers advantage to Concordia, but not if Nivek has anything to do about it. Finds the planter. Finds another one, and now all down to Alchemy, who is lurking on the complete other site. Might be able to find a timing, but the longer they wait, they might be ready.
30
Only has a
seconds
sheriff
left.
in hand. Trying to isolate, finds a weapon. Ooh, just a little bit wide of the head. Nivek 3 for the round.
And it's just third time that Nivek has creeped up from the flank. Second time that that lurk from Nivek has panned out for them. And, you know, just them and Alchemy was trying to get the drop as well. Trying to lurk through, attack into site through B, all the way to CT as well. But just like ships in the night, they just crossed.
Over there.
And wasn't able to get any other sort of advantage right now. Double digits for the Condors, looking absolutely wealthy as well from a credits perspective. 4 ultimates for Concordia. They'll have to utilize it early, kind of blind from the long side. Coming out with here, gonna be in for a fight.
Gonna secure them site here. Plant should go down finally.
Spike planted.
5v2 here from Concordia. Should be feeling good about that one. YG and Nivek just gonna inch up.
All missiles away.
Ooh, good use of utility again.
player standing.
YG almost finds in third, but can't quite. All down to Nivek, but Nivek has no trouble isolating 3.
So long.
Oh, just barely. Just saw Alchemy. Alchemy couldn't do anything. Didn't quite get the flick on Mahmoud though,
Last
but
round
again,
in
I
the
mean, you
half.
have a player like Nivek.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. That wall bang into Hookah was I didn't see it. Was the shoulder peeking out? I did not see Alchemy at all from Nivek's POV. That was ridiculous.
I couldn't tell if it was that or just like a good pre-fire. Again, I mean, that's a good, right? We talked about that game sense that Nivek just innately has, and whether or not they saw Alchemy, I mean, that's just beautiful.
Beautiful indeed. Walls being dealt with, trying to open up the map a little bit Once again, default. Alchemy has been pushed
I've
down
got
here
your trail.
into showers a whole lot just to be able to secure the site. The Seekers are online right now trying to take the fight over. Plus the Armageddon is being dropped, but Nizak here.
One enemy
No, Vex
remaining.
not even needed.
Spike
YG and
down,
Sunter
B.
clean things up. It's armor move right now.
Hunting. Last round. Finds one. That's going to be it. Man, that's tough. Conestoga
Switching sides.
end round one. Half one.
Just let them
11-1.
try to catch me.
I mean, Multi, if you're Concordia here, like what's going through your mind?
Well, pistol. Like you called it right. You can't focus on the entire map score right now. You have to be like, we just have to get this pistol. We have to do some insane stuff right now. And honestly, looking at the minimap, I don't mind what they're doing. They're gamble stacking just a little bit. They're trying to bring the fight over to Condors. In 15 seconds or so, we're gonna see an eruption like Mount Venezuela right now onto this side, and we'll see what happens with this. A lot of utility they have brought, and Kazuya on that ghost. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
But Suns are gonna find that first one. Look, they're inching up,
Oh my god.
and the shots are just there for Conestoga. All down here to Chris and Alchemy. Again, we said this is a must-win
Last
pistol.
player standing.
Alchemy gonna have to ace here. Finds one, only 4 more to go, but they're gonna hunt Alchemy down. Make sure they're not feeding these 1v1s. Lots of good utility usage. Alchemy stuck between a rock and a hard place. Oh, man. Match point here.
Match point just at that pistol, going to the side of the Condors. Concordia has left no choice. They're gonna have to buy up as much as possible. 1 Marshall, 3 Stingers in hand as well. Gonna make some absurd play, hopefully, to be able to bring the tide and advantage their way. Still grouped up around that A, maybe not as aggressive as before, but they're going to be met with 5 red players on that A side as well. The smoke comes out through the teleport from Viper to be able to maybe deny that vision, but that's going to be cleared out easily with YG's stealth drone.
Cleared out. They know there's some here. Sunter, though, with the Stinger, gonna find Note first. Be able to make their way on site after that one. Ooh. Just turns around 2. Kazuya finds 1. But, Conestoga Condors just so incredibly strong. Once again, down
Spike
here to
planted.
Chris and Alchemy. Gonna have to start isolating some of these. And it looks like the spray just not coming through. And that's all she wrote. A
Attackers win.
dominant performance here by the Conestoga Condors.
Indeed, indeed, and 13-1 could not get, well, could get more dominant than that, but that's as dominant as it really needs to be. A flying start for the side of the Condors to be able to take basically their map pick away from the side of Concordia and put it under their belt in this best of 3. That is the first on the board for them, and honestly, they were really dominant in all sorts, right? Not just from just kills perspective, but you see the way that that the Condors, they were utilizing their utility as best as they could possibly be utilized, really moving and having the discipline to move with their utility. Just that last round, waiting for YG to clear out showers as Sunter follows the stealth drone up. That's the type of discipline and coordination that Condors is bringing to the table, and you know they're not to be trifled with.
They're not, and I mean, it's no surprise to me after especially this map why they're 2-0 in the standings right now. But I mean I do think Concordia is a good team. I mean, what we saw from them, like they had the pieces there to
Yeah.
really have the potential to have really great rounds. It's hard when you're up against a powerhouse that is the Conestoga Condors. And that's a tough matchup for anybody. I do think Concordia did a good job holding their own, but And the scoreboard isn't really reflective of that. A 13-1
Mm-hmm.
is a blowout. Does look like a blowout, but I mean some of the individual rounds were a little bit closer than maybe a 13-1 scoreline would lead you to believe. I still think there's a potential we could go to Pearl if they can just tighten some things up here as we get ready to move into Lotus. But I mean, man, the Condors are a good team. They are a great team, and it's a really tough ask.
It is indeed. And so what the ask from Concordia is, you'll have some time right now before we move into map two. Get your head kind of calm down a little bit. It is a bit of a marathon. You have to be that chill guy, right? You have to be that chill guy. You have to have that calm aim and really just have flowing communication. So they had some, like you said, some great set pieces on that bind set. And looking to Lotus, it is going to be three sides. There's more space to be able to play with. And hopefully Concordia are going to be able to think creatively. Because if you can't go head to head around with against the Condors, you want to be able to sneak around them. You want to be able to play a little differently, a little off meta, and all together as well to be able to bring the advantage to your side.
I definitely agree, and I can't think of a better map to pull out some fun little sneaky rat plays than Lotus. So we'll have to see when we get into map two. We're going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. Game two of this exciting series coming up after a short bit. Hello, guys. Welcome back. We just had a nice break. We're here with Conestoga Condors versus Concordia University Multitudes. For those of us who missed it, let's can you walk us through that last game we just saw on Bind?
That last game on Bind went 13-1 to the side of the Condors. They honestly took control of the rate and pace of the game the entire time and was able to really have great retakes, team coordination, and just won a majority of the trades through and through. And so it is now moving on to map 2. It's that Lotus. It's actually Condor's map pick as well. And so this is Concordia's to steal away from them and keep themselves in this running in this best of 3.
What you touched on at the end of last map, maybe what Concordia needs to do is play a little bit more ratty, a little bit more sneaky, and I think they have the opportunity to do that here on Lotus. There's 3 sites, lots of different angles to come to, lots of different rotations, so maybe they'll be able to do that because if their, current playbook, those strats aren't quite working, well, there's definitely time to just be a little bit cheeky, but, I mean, for what it's worth, the Condors were checking their corners.
They were indeed, right? And so uh, looking at Lotus, you have to abuse a lot of the map space, right? It is big. There's huge spaces around that C mount plus A rubble. You've got B door as well that can be tapped, and then that would just send the defenders right now, which are the Condors, into a bit of a maybe a bit of a disarray, trying to discombobulate them just a little bit. There's ways you can play around with the hearts and minds of Condors. The last map they ran a Viper on Bind. If they run a Viper on Lotus as well on the attack side, they can put down a default wall on A and hopefully, like you call it, be a sneaky rat and move yourselves around and hopefully get yourselves a bit of a dub here and there as well.
Yeah, definitely, and you mentioned the Viper, but a couple other agents I'm expecting to see here on Lotus. I'm expecting that Tejo on both sides again for sure,
Haha.
100%.
Yes. Yes. It's gonna be quite I think it's gonna be a bit of a trend. We're not gonna stop seeing Teo for a while until a bit of a nerf comes out. But Teo's a great pick here on a duelist side. You get the classic like neon slides out, onto C mount or A rubble. And the classic initiators, are Breach as well as Gecko, but if you swap any of those out for Teo, that's also good as well.
Yeah,
We're seeing Deadlock come back just a wee bit onto
yeah,
Lotus. So as we move into Agent Select, it would be interesting to see what these teams cook up for
yeah.
Lotus.
And I don't think we have to wait too long. We should be getting in there in just a moment. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned the deadlock. We did see the Condors pull out that deadlock on Bind, and I mean, Nivek, insane. The use of utility, the game sense. So yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to see them back on Deadlock on Lotus. I can't lie. I mean, I think they just really had a great understanding of how to play that agent, and I'd love to see them pull it out again because it really worked for them on Bind.
Indeed. Yeah, and wouldn't be surprised. Yes, Condors are on the defense right now, but they were on Bind. They will be on Lotus as well for doing the first half, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same thing that happens. Nivik just finding those great opportunities to lurk out into CT spawn, sorry, into T spawn, right? And just be able to wreak havoc, especially because there are 3 sides. There are 3 lanes that lead to T spawn and attacker spawn. So that's something that can be abused, and I'm willing to put the Nyx Valorant skin on the line here that Condors will repeat their actions.
Now, do you think for Concordia, do you think they're gonna run a double initiator, double controller again, or do you think they're gonna add a sentinel into the mix?
Oh, I think not having a Sentinel on Lotus might be a bit of a death wish. I feel like because there are 3 sites, it's kind of like Haven. You gotta be able to.
Yeah,
You have three. You have three. Yes, Concordia are on attack, but they have to consider their map select for the defensive side, and with 3 sites for this map, it's just so hard to spread 5 players. You need to leave
yeah.
one person solo somewhere, and if they're not choke full of Sentinel utility, that's gonna be really hard. They're gonna have to be really aggressive and win their shots, or they're gonna play super defensive and basically give them a free side. And if the
Yeah.
Condors catch on, that's gonna be hard. So I'd be surprised if they ran something similar. I feel like um, double Sentinels is actually a very good possibility on Lotus as
Yeah.
well, because you can cover your flanks on the attack as well as great setups on the defense. So I'm expecting a bit of a change of pace for the side of Concordia.
I definitely agree. I think that a sentinel would do them well. I'm not necessarily gonna say, they needed that sentinel there on bind. I don't think that was necessarily like
Mm-hmm.
the nail in the
Mm-hmm.
coffin for them. But
Yep.
I do think you're right. I mean, especially on a 3-site map, especially when there's lots of different areas to rotate, different chokes to hold, in 3 sites, not being able to have utility to hold down the site, you're right. I mean, might just be a death wish. And there are different ways you can play it. I mean, you can play more defensively, give up sight, and hope to retake. But again, I think that's going to come down to, are you able to use your utility the way that maybe, let's say, the Condors were? Because one thing I did notice there on Bind, right, is they weren't afraid to give up sight. They weren't afraid to let the plant go down because they were coordinated in their utility usage to just
Yes.
retake. And so I think if you are confident and you're playing together, you have the communication, you're using your utility the way it should be used, you shouldn't be afraid to give up sight if you know you're going to be able to retake it. But, unfortunately, we didn't get to see that same thing come out from the Condors because we didn't, or from Concordia, because we didn't have enough rounds to really get a feel for how they do that.
No, 100% true, right? And you see the Concordia, at least I can see the intent. They're really trying to be able to move and push it with their utility, but the body positioning was just a bit off. So hopefully, moving into this next map, Agent Selects Online, we're gonna be seeing what these teams are cooking. And right off the cuff, I'm seeing Vice on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think Vice is one of those and it's so funny because we brought up with Tejo, like, just right off the bat having such a strong agent. I feel like what we've been seeing from these new agents coming out is either everyone plays them because they're broken, or like we don't see them at all. And slowly
Right.
they start to get added, right? Deadlock was one of them. Didn't see a lot of Deadlock
Mm-hmm.
play, and now she's kind of more viable. I mean, I think Vice was
Yep.
another agent like that, but not surprised on Lotus. I mean, she does have a lot of good utility you can work around, especially if you know how to use her. Yeah, I would like to see a Sentinel here for Concordia. I would really, really like to.
I would indeed, and so they're kind of hovering between a couple of duelists supported by a single initiator. Um, it's no, sorry, two initiators. Okay, they're still battling it out because they're kind of hovering over. But Alchemy will be locking in the Vice, and note on that Clove. So at least they will have a single very aggressive smoke. Actually, this is overall very aggressive. Um, Setup here. Chris Lablitz on that breach. Plus Vice can play an attacking flash as well. And so Clove being the pseudo duelist, this calls for basically all out war from the set of Concordia. They want to bring the fight, and hopefully they can stay true to that too.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad move from Concordia. I think if they can get on to site and then really hold it. I think one thing though that they did struggle with was that post plant. I think they should be able to get on to site here. But another piece of that I want to bring up for the Condors is, we talked how good they were at retaking because they were using that utility. And when you look at the agents, right, there's a lot of opportunity to kind of play off of each other's utility, right? You have the fade raise, that seize nade combo. I'm
Yep, the
expecting a lot
seasoning
with
combo.
the Tejo. You can push up off that. And maybe and there's the seize nade, but you have the seize plus Tejo utility as well on the table.
Indeed. And so pistol round, map 2, we're off to a flying start here. Concordia University making their way onto that C side will be met with a Vice flash as well. The dash comes in strong because we are trying to make space, but Beans is going to be just around this corner, trying to get the dash onto Kayuza, and we'll drop them as well. Beans are on a hunt for a little bit more, but Chris LeBlitz will shut that down. Sights for the taking, and Concordia University are sitting on it, but absolute great blind, letting Note actually get a couple of great kills with that Ghost. Sunter now on the flank, and Alchemy will shut that down. Left with a single final player, Willie, in a 1v3. Will get smoked off. We're gonna throw that haunt to try and isolate these fights, but it's gonna be an extremely tall order right now for them to be able to get any of these kills. Flash comes out, Alchemy steps forth, will collect another headshot onto Willie, and first on the board going to Concordia University.
Hey, I mean, I like what I'm seeing from Concordia here. I know it's just pistol, but this does kind of set kind of the basis, and being able to buy up here should give you a second one. It looks like those buys are still coming through. I'm seeing a Vandal for Note, maybe potentially. The buys kind of across the board right now. But I mean, you know, we talked about how they have like an aggressive comp. I think the flip side to having a large map like this with 3 sites is if you can push hard and fast on a site, and the map is so large that you should kind of be able to kind of hold it down, maybe find a couple picks and move from there.
Indeed, indeed. And now they basically have 8 map control, but look where the Condors are fighting as well. Chris LeBlitz starts a quick one on to Willie high up in the heavens, and Alchemy manages to avoid the 3-person wraparound from the side of the Condors that are just on their ass as well. Alchemy fires a great couple of Guardian shots, and YG's there to trade. Now the fight from the heavens erupts. The Condors are trying to pinch the Concordia University from both sides, taking these 1v1s, but no will shut down YG. It's now in the Vec, and Kazuya will clean things up with the Guardian. 4 rifles, or 4 guns rather, will be brought over. Great start from the side of Concordia.
Concordia just doubled their rounds from Bind. And
I didn't mean to laugh, but it's facts, right? We're just dropping facts here. Right,
yeah, but I mean, actually, no, but I do like what I'm seeing here, and this does kind of feel like a different feel than we had from them on Bind. I think they kind of struggled a lot, and even when they were able to make their way on site, it was a struggle. Weren't able to hold site, but now this wide map that can go hard, that can go fast, and like you said, 4 weapons recovered. Well, that makes going into this rifle round here of the Condors a little bit easier. But I like what I'm seeing. They look confident. You know, we talked about needing a vibe merchant. It's hard. It's hard to be confident after losing map 1, 13-1. So to win both of these pistols, beautiful Willie with the good shot, but Chris is gonna trade that out. Upgrades here to a Vandal. Knows when to back off. But it's gonna get caught in that smoke.
B is completely split wide open as well, and Satchel in from Sunter with the perfect paranoia as well. YG and Sunter clean things up, and we'll get the defuse off. The bonus will go to the side of the Condors with 4 rifles as well, and it's that team coordination, Kai, that I am terrified of.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Now we build on.
I mean this is the Condor team that we know and love, right? I mean that's exactly why they won map 1, 13-1. It's not because Concordia is a bad team. It's not because Concordia and players aren't good. It's because they have that coordination. I mean, that paranoia, beautiful. Sunter could just satchel right in there, find one. You know, like it's just the way that they play together. The communication is on point. I mean, it's hard to do that. That takes a lot of practice.
Where are you?
Start things off with a great op short from, you know, attacker's side as well. The aggression from the corners couldn't play out, and now Alchemy is lurking up that mid. Concordia University are really trying to spread themselves out and get as much map control as possible.
Finding going here B main, but look where that bomb's going. Rotating over towards that C site.
not before making so much noise in B as well, right? They're really trying to split this side as possible. They're making full advantage of all the different gimmicks that this site has. Now, they haven't made a single noise on C just yet. So Beamster is having that sixth sense. Kazuya just propped up with that angle.
Kazuya was waiting, had a perfect position, didn't know it. It's like bomb though, rotating over towards this A site. Kazuya holding that up, waiting for someone to peek through. I think just missed timings on that C side as they make their way over to A. Kazuya's gonna walk right into Willie's crosshair.
Meanwhile, the rest of Concordia have already stepped onto the A side, but 16 seconds left. They're letting time slip by so fast. 10 seconds left. And the Condors are already on their heels. Okay, the fight has been disrupted. And this is the last possible chance for them to do as well. Not dead yet has been popped. Note is running around trying to get that kill, and they will drop Willie at the last possible second. Concordia do manage to get the spike down and secure themselves that win.
You know, I have to be honest, and I don't want to come off like a non-believer, but things were looking dicey there for a little bit, I have to say.
It was. I was very worried.
I think, yeah, timer just kind of ticking down. I think the other huge thing was Willie with that pick on to Kazuya, which does mean the operator was not able to be recovered. Unfortunately, Kazuya just that classic Valorant timing, I think would have had Beamster there. A little bit more aggressive here from Conestoga on that A site, but they gamble stacked and made the wrong call.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of utility. Beamster's gonna be able to hold back basically the entire fort here with their sheer wall coming right up. And now with that, they believe that the A site is, so C site is clear. They're actually pushing out. Chris LaBlitz gonna be able to drop Nivek as well, but Beamster's held behind this beautiful mound will be flashed out. Beautiful coordination from Marmoud. Now it's all in Alchemy to try and maybe get some mid picks, but that is the satchel in from Sunta to try and isolate these fights. Proud to come out. Great shots from the side of Willie to support, but they don't expect a second. Notes there with the tap as well. Cross map to be able to secure some of these kills onto Sunter. YG left on a lone 7 with 1v4. Couldn't do anything more against Marmoud, with that Vandal. And so in this in this thrifty round, Condors drops a single body on the side of Concordia, 4-1.
I mean, I don't even have words. I mean, I think Concordia just. I mean,
yeah.
You know, you come off of that first game where they were really struggling to find any sort of impact on the game itself to come here. I mean, again, right? Conestoga is a good team, and they're good at using their utility together. So, I mean, the fact that Concordia has put up 4 here, they're looking strong. They're playing well. They're playing smart. I love the reads and kind of just these changes. And I think it came down to, you're right. I mean, you have to kind of play up with your play style, with your strats to go against a team like Conestoga Condors. And Condors have had a little bit of difficulty adapting to that so far. Plenty of time left for them to bring it back. 3 ults on board for the Condors.
A lot of retake potential as well, as looks like Concordia are grouped up into B, but not before Marmoud unfortunately drops with that late lurk. A response from Alchemy as well to bring down their vice counterpart. So with that, the call has been made. They're going to be sprinting onto that C side, and we'll see if Nivek can get there in time indeed, dropping the in-house jet as well. And so that's a bit of a showstopper from the side of Concordia. Showstopper talking about that will come out. Doesn't get anybody. Now it's the Steel Garden as well. This will force Condors all the way back without rifles to their name. But the spam through Willie's just outside that radius will drop Chris LaBlitz that had the spike as well. We're in a 3v2 situation. It's looking not great for the side of Concordia. Left with Alchemy on their low, some 14 seconds left. Spike not in hand. We'll get haunted out. Alchemy trying to isolate this 1 second, 7 seconds. Not too much time to make a miracle. work for themselves, and it's a cleanup crew for Condors putting their second on the board.
Thought that was a good investment of that ultimate by Alchemy, but yeah, it didn't quite pay off for them. And again, I do think that's where the Condors shine, is when they can play together, especially retake. Not quite a total retake, right? Bomb wasn't planted, but
Let's flush them out.
if you're Concordia, you're still looking to play hard, to play fast, and to know when to rotate out. You have to kind of play smarter than Conestoga.
Here.
Operator's back online. Kai, and I'm worried for the side of Condors. We've seen Kazuya do some nasty flicks so far, but now two players from the side of Condors hold up in tree. Door will be tapped. This is YG and Sunta's moment. The flash comes out. The off angle from Sunta to get the trade, and a second on to Chris Lablitz. Can he get a third? No, make sure that does not happen.
Nivek waiting for someone else to push through tree. Think better of it. Don't want to push select too much.
Yeah, a lot of map control already has been lost basically. Concordia vested everything into this, maybe looking like they want to sprint over to that B site. Beanster's going to be the one moving around this corner, and the walkthrough gets the drop on 2 and a third onto Kazuya as well. A bit of a tactical squat happening as they show assert dominance, putting themselves third onto the board.
Yeah, I would take a timeout after that too.
Yeah, just walking into B-Link, that was kind of freaky.
That was freaky. And I mean, yeah, you have to actively clear your corners. And I think, this is something I'm guilty of, but just passively going in and looking at, oh, I'm going to clear my corners. There's someone there. And then you had 3 online, right? And you're one by one feeding that rifle. And any single person here on the side of Conestoga, they know how to hit their shots. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. So you really have to make sure you're playing around, that you have those trades coming in. You put yourself in positions where you can play together. You use util to clear things, but you cannot afford to one by one go into any member's crosshair, because I mean, really anyone in this lobby is more than capable of hitting their shots. They're not missing. Yeah, so definitely a well-placed timeout. That's also
Very
an
much so,
operator now in the hand of Conestoga.
Conestoga, Beanster, you see holding on to that, and a lot of ultimates online as well, so it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath here, but Concordia University, they're going to be on a save as well, so...
Still up in rounds. Not up in economy right now.
Ooh, the salvos come out as well, trying to isolate these fights. Now, you see Note actually cut off on their lonesome. The rest of Concordia University trying to help them out, but Willie's just quicker with his headshots. Drops 2, Marmot does fire back, and now it's just bodies dropping left and right. Chris Lablitz with that final push down through B. We'll be able to get at the very least some plot money, but I don't know if they can do anything more than that.
I like it. Fake that plan on B. See if they hear it. Clearing out. Chris doesn't know how free the site is like we do.
Yeah, and you know, they're trying to at least get some fights here. And they know that dropping a weapon on the side of the Condors will be better than that plant money. But at least the plant is coming out right now. Beanster on the hunt for a bit of an angle. Gets the headshot onto Chris Lablitz, who steps out just from the corner, equipped with that utility in hand. And it just wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. And we'll tie things up to a 4-4.
I mean, I think what is happening right now is we had beautiful rounds from Concordia. Again, we have 2 great teams in play here. But I think Conestoga started to kind of figure out what they needed to do. How can we adapt to Concordia? And so if you're Concordia now, and maybe hopefully this is something they talked about in their timeout, but now you have to switch your strats up again because
Yeah.
they have that read on you. You have to play differently, and this is such a wide map, so many different agents in play. You have the opportunity to do that, but you gotta figure something out. 4 ults on each side, and already 1, 2, make that 2 popped.
A showstopper as well as Rolling Thunder to absolutely clear this side, and you know Nivik gave so much space to the side of Concordia to stroll right up. Mahmoud caught up in the heavens with that Bucky in hand as well, and this is the counter take. Alchemy on the other side trying to battle it out with Beanster with that, who has an operator, mind you. Nivek with that Armageddon as well, gonna be able to drop these players. It's just the kill feed lighting up in red. Concordia University are holding on, but not if Willie has anything to say about that from the heavens. Trying to peek off these corners, and it's just YG and Willie who will drop. Concordia fire back with some great ultimates and great headshots of their own, 5-4.
The amount of util on that B site last round. I mean, just a bloodbath. 4 ultimates invested. Lots of utility, but again, I mean, well played by Concordia. They pushed hard and fast on B, used utility to execute on site. That's what you have to do, and they were able to do it. So if they're able to just kind of switch up their strats, I think they have a shot, because I think Conestoga are a little bit more disciplined. They play off of what they know. They play well together. Information is so vital in a game like Valorant.
Indeed, indeed. And so that's information being gained as well right there. But that's the B side. You know, they found a bit of a weakness right there. They're pushing through. Alchemy's holding the fort, trying to prevent any flanks from coming in as well. They're bringing the fight all the way to CT. You see Mahmoud hunting for Beanster, but Beanster just fires back. His bodies are dropping left and right. Beanster has to reload. And so now 3 players on the side of Condors trying to pinch it all from all angles onto the side of Concordia on B.
Last player
See
standing.
that Salvo's coming out, and just the fight is isolated. Note left on their lone side will be tagged and stunned and prowlered. So much utility being thrown in the sink as well. Could not get anything more. Spike is defused. Nivek will pick up the kill, and once again, Kai, we are at a tie. It is now closer than ever.
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed what I've seen this half. I have a feeling next half, one team's just gonna kind of take it away. But I hope I'm hoping it's just as close. We could go to OT. We could go to OT.
Yo, don't cast or curse this, alright? Don't cast or curse this.
I know. I'm just saying we could. You know, I still want to get a pearl.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I am liking what we see. But again, right, that was
Locating target.
Conestoga able to adapt, able to read, and able to push all that utility coordinated together. The Condors are so coordinated in how they play that really your best bet, if you're any team going against them, is to catch them off guard.
Great upper push from the side of YG. A very classic, you know, from the shadows move. Not from the shadows, sorry. Shadow step from the side of that Omen to be able to take that space. And now they're actually falling back. They're giving, you know, being that sole player, giving all the A space to Concordia, who basically just walk onto site. Now, if you're conditioned to, you know, walking is terrible, but they managed to get on the site scot-free. Plant comes down. It's going to be the retake. 5 players coming on board. A lot of strong utility as well. Steel Garden and the Showstopper ready. And Alchemy is here. So maybe hold the flags down. Showstopper's online. There we go. Firing themselves in. We'll get the shot on Chris Blitz, but Kazuya will fire and trade that out. Now, we're already onto the site trying to peek all these back angles. Mormon gets a couple of their own, which is great for holding these final 2 players back. It's now reversed. They know they have to clear tree. And Alchemy is there to sweep up 1v1 Vice versus Vice. Oh, Vice. Oh my gosh, the Steel Garden comes out. Beanster is trying to get the drop and gets the drop onto Alchemy. But it's just not enough time. We've got enough time for the spike to defuse, and Beanster runs away tail tucked. How did it end like this?
Round before the
Oh
switch.
my gosh.
Can I get a drop?
speechless.
This, I don't know what to say. Beanster and Alchemy, both these. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Oh. Absolutely wild.
Man.
Absolutely
Oh
wild.
man. Wow.
Looking for a bit of a faster action. Wow, indeed. Kazuya comes out, Storm Blades
Here.
blazing. Trying to take all this space as well, especially because that door is popped. So hunting for
Ooh.
Nivek, but will not
Ammunition.
be able to get that kill, unfortunately. So Alchemy fires back, tries to even things out. Now the lurk has come out, and Alchemy is there to collect. All on a final player here, Willie. They know where they are as well. Now Note's hunting after them, not that Yak has been shot, but will get denied the resurrection. So the plant will go
Spike
down.
planted.
Willie in a 1v3. 4K is on the line here to secure themselves a tie, or else Concordia have this in the bag.
Seen Willie 1v3 before. The time is ticking. Lots of areas to clear. Last run and a half. Can't save here. And look how controlled. So great at clearing these corners, but now you're working against time and Conestoga. Hoping to get one more here, but look at all that utility used.
Wow.
Grenade.
Well played. The flash, the stun, the show, like, it was just everything. The
Switching
aftershock, I think, as well, just in case the first two players in the front failed. It was good coordination from the side of Concordia. We're at the flip, 7-5.
Now Concordia going to be trying their hardest to win this other pistol round again. Pistol does put a couple rounds on the board, right? You win pistol, you win the next.
Here.
That's 2 rounds right there. You win these 2 now. That's 4.
Retrieving thorn trap.
Yeah, now I'm just looking at that composition. Not very defender-sided healthy, to be honest. There's no way to get in there.
It's not.
They have a lot of flashes, but that's about it. They'll have to use bodies and eyes to be able to understand where these players are, and that's just putting their lives at risk.
Yeah, they definitely knew they were starting attack and invested in a comp that would give them as many rounds as possible there at the beginning.
Beginning indeed. Here is the second half here as we satchel in. Beanster opens things up onto Kazuya. Nivek's bringing the fight through that smoke as well. Dropping Chris Blitz. They're not waiting from Concordia at all. They want to bring the fight. Alchemy is super low as well. Will get dropped by YG. Now the site's kind of cracked wide open.
Drop in a
And
smoke.
the saving grace here is Murmur will drop Beanster from the flank side. So we're in a 2v4 situation.
Yeah, if I'm Node, I'm
Last player standing.
waiting here
Spike
for
planted.
Marmoud to make it over, but not quite enough time now. All down to the single raise, the saving grace. 15 HP. Has to isolate. But Willie, crouch, able to find that one shot. Pistol round going to Conestoga Condors.
They're gonna be able to bring back that pistol and fully invest. Actually, they're look at their armory right now. They want to close this out fast. A lot of vandals and phantoms in hand to be able to make it work. Willie on that judge. Okay, we'll see what kind of strat they cook.
Like electing to go here C. And what we've seen these teams do in the past is just gamble stack a site, not what we're seeing coming out from Concordia. They only have these pistols in hand. Again, and not really a defender-sided comp, going to have to work off of eyes and ears and bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Alchemy, the sole sentinel player here.
Yeah, the contact starts off Prowler and everything, every sort of utility just being thrown into them. Gonna have to hard bail, hiding in the smoke, waiting for someone to disrespect it and move through, but no one's giving them the opportunity just yet. Plant will come down,
Planted.
and the smoke will just about dissipate soon. Alchemy is just holed up in there as well. Sunter's gonna be bringing the fight over to CT. It's gonna a couple players now regroup. It's a 5v5 retake. No one's died just yet. We have the stun plus the nades come out. Sunter's trying to hold them back. but you know the firepower is just a little too strong for the side of Condors. And so, you know, cleanup crew on aisle 5, quick and easy, bring ourselves to a tie, 7-7.
One gun out of hand that they can't bring into the bonus. Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
Concordia able to buy up again here. First rifle round for them of this half, but remember last half, how many they let get away from them. You don't want that snowball. Last map, excuse me, on bind. You don't want to let that snowball come into effect here. Lots of places you need to clear, and remember, like you said, not a very defensive-sided comp. Going to have to work together. Make sure you're in positions for these trades.
Alright, we'll start off right now, you know, Conestoga taking things slow. They put a lot of utility, but they know Concordia is there, hold up around Rebel. So a lot of warning shots being fired as they move their asses over to the other side.
Site is open, but there's all of that vice utility.
Sunter has satcheled in, but will be walled off as well. No one else can support. Alchemy is the only one on site waiting for the players to storm in, but Beanster is ready for that trade. Disgusting shot as well. Fight's bringing over to the side of Waterfall. Notes trying to hold them back, but just a little too aggressive to be honest. And isolating these fights, letting Sunter get away with it. That is the trade from Crystal Bits. The flank coming out from the backside right now. And the stuns coming out on Nivik. Gonna try and hold these back, but Willie's just around this corner with the stinger in hand, and the bonus going to the side. Sorry, the anti-eco. No, is that the anti-eco? No, the bonus going to the side of Condors. This might be the snowball effect you spoke about, Guy.
Yeah, let's just call it what it is. We know Concordia is a good team. They are a good team. They have more rounds on the half, but with a comp like this that you're running now on defense, you have to make sure you're having some sort of impact. So that unfortunately means if you're holding and you're going to be peeking, you have to get those early picks. I'm talking about Alchemy there. Needs to get at least one before getting traded out. If you're Note and Marmoud, you cannot just one by one peek that. You gotta push together. You have utility. You push together. Even if Note falls, Marmoud's there with the trade. You have to play together. You don't have the kind of setup where you have this utility on site to hold.
There you have
Good
it. Oh,
pick
okay,
from
speaking of huge pick, you kind of called it, able to get Beanster, but Sunter's there for the trade. Nonetheless, you know, that is a couple of players, at least a single player shaved off the Condors.
Last player standing.
Walking into those crosshairs. It is a save round for the side of Concordia, but you do want to, you know, make as much financial and economic damage onto the side of Conestoga as possible. Unfortunately, Zuya's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was tough. That was a save.
Grenades left.
That was a huge pick there from Alchemy, but it is tough when you're in a save. But one thing I think that Concordia can work on a little bit is positioning, and that includes, right? Do we push together? Do we allow them to isolate? But just all around positioning. But now they have rifles. I mean, hopefully some of these gunfights should go their way. We do see Kazuya bringing that operator back out. We know they're so deadly with that. But it looks like nobody's going their site.
Unfortunately not. Note's going to be the solo hold here, backed up by Alchemy just in this corner as the Condors sweep into here. They're actually peeking around. Oh, Kazuya getting a great shot and dashing away just in the nick of time. A sliver of health to their name, but sliver's all you need to keep 5 stack here on your board. And so Vice to try and use the flash to regain this B space. Now Condors are locked out once again.
Not ready
Opening
yet.
pick means that they have numbers advantage on the side of Concordia. It's a little bit more pressure here on Conestoga.
Yeah, and the Condors, they're, you know, they know that they're at a disadvantage. They're trying to make their way onto that B. Spike's now being dropped. The ball has been known. Now we're satcheling out of there, just trying to make sure we can get into the safety, waiting for Beanster to clear themselves out, while Crystal Blitz having that intuition that it might come from that A-Link side. Spike's wide in the open as well. We're waiting for Beanster to lurk through to get a shot, and a shot they do! Not much HP left to their name, 10 as well, left on their lonesome. Gonna have to do a bit of a miracle or save, but Crystal Blitz is there at the off angle to respond as well and hold up. Actually, Noah and Kazuya are in super low health as well, so it could go either way, but looking to maybe wait it out and pray to the heavens that they can get away with this Vandal.
Yeah, that save coming out is, you know, makes sense. You have 10 HP. That was better from Concordia. I like their positioning. They had the weapon, so they were able to kind of hold them off. And I think if they're able to take away from this round anything, it's that if you can continue to play like that, you stand a chance. Because
yeah, great opening pick.
Yeah,
right,
it was, and it puts all the pressure there on Conestoga because. I mean, the Condors hit their shots. Even the shots we saw, right? I mean, they lock on head, so you need to be able to kind of just still make sure you can control. But great job from Concordia. Conestoga is up now on the scoreboard in rounds, but a great round from Concordia means don't need to count them out just yet. Alchemy misses that shot, but that's a lot of information given and knows not to push.
And that's the push from Kazuya that will be punished by Venus once that C-Link was, you know, exploited as well. Steel Garden out and about, but Alchemy will drop just before their weapon gets detained. It's a free sight for them to do, and they want to bring the fight and push all the way through, and Note will be punished as well with that duo of Sunter plus Nivik all the way in CT. We're left with Marmoon plus Crystal Blitz. Navu's picking up the operator, and I don't know if that's the signal to save. Yep. Call has been made.
Yeah. I definitely think that's the right call.
I honestly think that it was the Condors who read that so well. I think they basically did the same setup, and they expected Kazuya to push out somehow.
Yes.
You tap that door, and you just get swept out by Beanster, who's just around this corner, right? So it was very, very smart of them to maybe play that to their advantage. And look, they're hunting. They want to strip away that operator.
I mean, I would hunt too. You have the economy that even if you fall, you'll be able to buy again. Another well-placed timeout coming out here from Concordia. They were able to save the operator and save another rifle. It's going to be kind of a tough buy for the rest of them. Not quite full shields. Kazuya looks like maybe we'll bring out those knives here. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a bad call. And it's gonna be Mahmoud with the operator. I think that was not a bad save that round, because you still have a couple rounds to work with, right? They only have 10 on the board. But their economy is in a good spot. So even if you win these next couple, you still have to stay on it, because they'll be able to buy up again next. And after that, they can lose 2 and still buy. Yeah, that just comes down to, like, right, we talked about positioning and checking corners. But even just that, even if you check that, that's hard with an op, like up close like that. And it's almost like the Condors are doing what we saw Concordia do well, where they can play up with the strats and kind of confuse them. They had the read on Concordia. So if you're Concordia, again, you can't keep doing the same thing even on your defensive half.
Indeed. And it looks like they're going to be, you know, moving that operator. Operator's back in the hands of Kazuya. Hold up in A this time. But once again, Condors trying to split this map in half. Stealth Drone comes out to try and get information on B. There's no more shear left here. And so the satchel comes out. Suntus bring the fight over, but Crystal Blitz will punish the aggression. We're onto the site right now. Steel Garden to be proactively used by the side of Concordia, and plus the showstopper as well,
player standing.
clutching 2 of their
Spike
own.
down, B.
Great coordination from the side of Concordia to overwhelm and make sure that no footing and no settling happens on that B side. 9 to their name. Great response after that timeout.
I would love to be a fly on the wall in that timeout. I want to know exactly what their coach said.
Right?
Because the way, the coordination and the way we just saw them play, I mean, coach said something and they said, okay, bet, and just did it. And executed off of that. I mean, I would love to know exactly what was said there because, I mean, that was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful.
Beautiful indeed. You'll have to realize now the Condors have some, great ultimates of their own. Nightfall, plus an Armageddon as well as Showstopper, right? They're waiting for the right picks. They're not doing the same thing that they did before. They're sending out the stealth drone through mid, which is what time and time they've done a few times. Maybe some conditioning happening, but that's the operator sounding out, trying to get 1 or 2 picks as Kazuya once again able to escape with their
Spike down
lives.
A.
And
They
the
have to
spam
fight.
through the smoke means Willy goes down. No Nightfall. Now Beanster trying to get some sort of lurk play here, but doesn't realize Note is paired up as well. So Condors trying to re-clear this site together, but will be held back with that decay from Note. Showstopper comes out to get all this space. We'll get Crystal Blitz, and YG's there for Note as well. Note pops, not dead yet, and Alchemy is there to punish the aggression. Oh, great play from the side of Concordia as well, just to be able to hold things off. And I feel like they know exactly where the Condors are swooping in now.
And you know what? It comes down. I mean, they're finally playing together. I kind of want to start right. We saw Beanster there on B, and just kind of got a glimpse of Chris's shoulder. Chris able to get out, but then knows exactly where to swing. And then we saw that again.
Weapons up,
No
thumbs up.
brought the not dead yet out. And
Yes.
you have your other two, Alchemy, I think, was there to pick off Suntor,
Yes.
right? And so finally playing together, you have the advantage, but you're playing together. You're not letting that advantage go. Suntor gonna find that opening hook, puts a little bit more pressure on Concordia.
Go ahead.
They can still play together, still time, but lots of ultimates being invested here on the C site.
Oh, but the Armageddon absolutely just isolated the fight. Note will go down to Suntor's Boombot as well. Marha's trying to keep things spicy by dropping YG, so that's no more smokes from the side of Condors, but they do have the site right now. Concordia University are grouped up, and the Condors are very respectful. They're actually waiting for the bait. They're waiting for Concordia to just push out, but Suntor's taking the advantage here onto this solo Chris, who doesn't, I don't think they realize he's just run this corner here. He's just gonna dry peek it, I think. Yes, dry peek it indeed. 3K for the side of Suntor. Now, Ace might be on the line, but Beanster will sweep out as well. Will drop Willy, dropping Alchemy 1v3. Couldn't do anything more. Suntor picks up a beautiful 4K. And that's 11-10 to the side of Condors, inching their way towards a series point here.
I think Concordia does a really good job when they find their opening picks, because then they're like, okay, the pressure's on Conestoga, we can play
Yes.
together. But I think as soon as they lose that advantage, they get a little tied up in like, oh, we don't have the advantage and we have to do this. You can still play together when you're down numbers.
Yeah, and this is unfortunately that last round. Kazuya was the first one to drop, and now trying to preserve their lives. Will back out. That C mount completely given up to the side of the Condors.
Condors know when to back off. Concordia still holding these sites for now. Mahmoud has to find this one, but at least knows when to back off. Good call from Mahmoud. Doesn't repeat that.
Yeah, giving all that space, grouping out with Crystal Blitz as well, but they have to know that a lot of people are here. It's gonna be a free site, free real estate for the side of Condors as they throw, cursory utility onto the side. Note's gonna try to at least hold that stairs position, so not too much space is
Spike planted.
taken. Kazuya at least will be pushed out as well. Crystal Blitz will drop YG, and the site is for the taking. Plant has been tapped as well, so now we're scrambling for answers. We're trying to get back onto the site to go to hold this back, but it's just Nivik and their Lonesome who drops one. Beanstalk gets another trade as well, but once again, we are tied up. We are back to back to back all the way through. We might get that OT you wished for, Kezarine.
Yeah, I mean, I am just so impressed with the adaptation I've been seeing from Concordia. I love the way they're able to play together, and we're starting to see them kind of really let that sink in what they need to do. I don't know if their IGL is making these calls. I don't know if it's something their coach said, but right, we had Marmoud who missed that shot, saw them coming over to A, and then said, you know what, no, I can back off. We can retake together. Concordia were not afraid to give up sight now to retake together. Peaking together, pushing together. I think there are earlier rounds where I think they would have won by one peak tree there. But now allowing those trades to come out, I'm very, very impressed with what I've seen. A good showstopper find too.
Nice.
Huge, but unfortunately, you know, Condors just playing together and able to capitalize and win out the rest of their trades as well. And Kazuya with the collat onto Nivik as well. As the, you know, two players from the side of the Condors just turning the tables right now onto in the favor of Concordia, falling back to regroup with their teammate. 1v2 situation. YG left with 30 HP. Has the spike in hand as well. Could go anywhere they wanted to and trying to isolate these fights.
All you can hope for here if you're YG. Looks like they might have the timing to do that seize. Oh no!
Got absolutely lucky with it as well. YG feels like, you know, they will be playing together, so just books it to the ends of the earth and plants onto that seaside. Ball has dropped. Concordia know where they are, and YG's trying to bring the fight. They know they're in an unfavorable situation, so want to be able to take these fights over to them. A single smoke comes out, and you see Concordia actually pushing together, playing very coordinated, but the 1v1s have been isolated, and Alchemy is just round the corner for the trade. It got so tight, but this is Concordia's match point, trying to push us over into that map 3.
Man, that collat by Kazuya, they just lined up. Oh my goodness.
Match point.
Yeah, things got a little dicey, and if you're YG, you have to be kicking yourself. A good timeout now coming out for Conestoga. Definitely needed. It's match point now for Concordia, but Conestoga's one away from bringing this into OT. But if you're YG, you have to be kicking yourself. You're thinking, okay, I saw both of them, and I just didn't have the trigger discipline to wait to line that up. They saw where I was. And then, yes, Concordia played together, but they didn't peak together. YG found one and turned away. Not expecting them to be pushing together one by one. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Concordia did put another round on the board, did make it to match point. And now, I mean, what do you think Conestoga are even talking about? We know that they're good, but these last couple rounds have just seemed to slip away from them.
Well, looking at their alts, right, they have the Showstopper online. They're 2 away from Willie's Nightfall. If I were them, I think about trying to harvest B and C orbs, right? Those are the orbs that are a bit more easy for the taking. I'm sorry, there's no orb on B, so they'll have to maybe get an opening pick or make their way and try and contest both corners. That's probably the best bet that they have to be able to turn the tides onto themselves. With that Nightfall online, you're deafened. You can't hear exactly where a raise might be settling in. Right now, here's the contest for that C orb as well. But Kazuya is ready for it. Doesn't even worry about that drone as well. That's the door tap, but Crystal Blitz is punished for it. Unfortunately, Note paired up, gonna get away with it. With their life, unfortunately, that is a person down for the side of Concordia.
Good utility usage here by Conestoga. Kazuya still has the operator in play, knows when to back off. Unfortunately, getting blinded. Couldn't line up that shot.
Interesting, they gave the orb to Beanster. One away now from the Steel Garden. That could be another angle at it as well. Meanwhile, Alchemy is pushed up all the way through B. You see Condors trying to poke and prod and regain their map control here.
I don't mind the setup here from Concordia, but again, you're not playing together. This kind of forces you in the situation where you have to get yours. Alchemy finds one and finds two. Suddenly, man advantage there for Concordia. Pressure is on Conestoga.
Want to get this online as well. Sunter fires through, getting the operator player out of the hands with a showstopper as well.
Spike planted.
Beanster will plant the spike, and that's going to be the Steel Garden online. Just waiting for the retake to come in, but do note that Concordia have a Steel Garden of their own. So it's a play right now to see who gets onto site. Close enough, that is both Steel Gardens. Now we're back in pistol round. We're back in pistol
It's just a pistol. It's just a pistol.
Classics. Flying around left and right. We've got shorties in hand. Okay, I think Steel Garden is just about gone right now, and we're going to be able to bring ourselves into overtime.
Switching sides. Overtime.
That was hilarious. I've never
That
seen
was so funny. That was
That
so
was
funny.
actually funny. That was clippable, 100%.
Last round to bring us into OT, 2 Visalts. You love to see it. Well, maybe not if you're maybe not if you're Concordia, but everyone else loves to see it.
All right, OT. Everyone's buying up. We've got ourselves a bit of a show match here. Condors on the defense. We've seen them at the half, only 5 to their name, 5-7 when they're playing defense. So we'll see if they're, able to bring this one under their belt.
Nice thing about OT is everyone kind of starts on the same equal footing. It's all about how you play with your team.
And Beanster's going to be first contact here. The sheer wall is going to be the one that they'll have to deal with as well. The Thorns come out early and try and deny movements. Beanster's being very patient. The dash in as well. They know that someone's around this corner and just isolating these fights. Kazuya has to realize the sheer wall went up, so nobody was there to support them. Now with Tejo salvos coming up as well, trying to prevent any sort of re-aggression from the side of Concordia.
Concordia, again, on that disadvantage, but they're playing together 2s and 2s. Trying to see where they can find some sort of impact. Digging into 2 members of their own. Time is ticking. Nobody has
30
bomb.
seconds left.
They have to do more than they have to do a marathon sprint right now. Marmut's getting out of there, picking up the spike, and the other 2 players are gonna have to do as much headway as possible. That's why Sunter's sending out that boom bot. 13 seconds. We're gonna
10 seconds.
We're gonna not have enough time. Oh my god.
No time.
No time at all. Just in the nick of time. I think the spike will
Gonna
come
have to
down.
sing. Has to sing.
Just there, but that's Sunter and YG knowing that time was not on Concordia's side. They're gonna have to hold down that
Switching
number
sides.
4. And
Match
so they just swoop in on those positions, and now they are at a match point, and might I add, series point as well.
I mean, talk about pressure. All that pressure on Concordia, but I mean, to take Find to go 1-13 and then bring this map into OT. Actually, you were up. They brought it into OT. I mean, if you would have told me, after buying that we were going into OT, I would have said, "There's no way. There's no way."
Cap.
But I mean, I do think they have a shot here to clean it up as well, right? And it comes down to some of those like structural decision making skills right there. Okay, you lost that advantage, right? You the first blood on your team, right? So now you're in a 4v5, electing to just kind of see where we can take space as twos. Nobody had the bomb. Time is ticking, right? Less than 30 seconds. You have to start thinking about how are we going to execute together at that point, because there's just no time.
Yeah, it was too little, too late. I know that Concordia, they did that once, I think, during their attack half, but it wasn't meant to be during that OT, unfortunately. So now we're on the flip. Concordia's on the defense, and Kazuya once again bring the fight very aggressively to them. Will get spotted out by the stealth drone and tries to GTFO as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Alchemy just sweeps up 3 of their own.
Beautiful,
Holy
beautiful.
There for the trade as well, but it's just a response in kind once that door was tapped. Willie left in a 1v3 situation. The boom bot will be evaded, but the spike has been left alone.
Again, I mean, it's just another Willy 1v3. Going to look to
Yeah, and
isolate these. I think saw the top of that head.
I'll find you. Still waiting.
Great one-way smoke from the side of Clove, right? Now they're grouped up. They know where these players are. I don't know if they know where the spike is just yet, but at least they're playing together. And so Willie, 39 seconds to have to play around with. Either that get 3 kills or try and isolate these fights and plant. Probably the former, but
30 seconds left.
30 seconds is not enough for this rap, mate. I don't know if you know that.
Just unfortunate again. You're gonna run into time. Shift blocked all around, but no.
Satchel out. Satchel out.
Sensing that, hey, you know, it's been a while. They didn't attempt to pick up the spike here.
Switching
Someone's
sides.
gotta be wrapping.
Overtime.
And now, second OT. Gonna be Concordia bringing out a timeout here. Again, I mean, that was good. They're able to stay in it, but they really have to win this next one because I mean, if you're Concordia, you're thinking, okay, hey, Conestoga is a good team. They're currently sitting undefeated. Just whipped our butts 13-1 there on our map pick. Like, we have to finish this game out strong before they kind of get a read on what we're doing, because how many strats do we have in our book that we can kind of pull out before they start to adapt to that?
Yeah, and so it's the question like, do you fall back to what you've done successfully in your attack half, right? Where you're able to take C mount, you split, do some B splits as well to be able to take and confuse the site. Or do you really mix it up, right? We've not seen Concordia explode onto A rubble during their attack half just yet, and that could be something that's discussed as well. Do you really throw things into the air and mix it up? Maybe not, looking at where they formed up.
Yeah, I have a feeling they talked in their timeout. Well, actually, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking they push fast before, and get a pick before you give the Condors a chance to be coordinated with your utility.
Yeah, but the sheer wall is going to be the point of contention here. Kazuya once again just jumps straight in. Now in the heavens. I don't know if Nivek is aware of that. Absolutely not. Okay, Sunter is there to try and clear the rest of this site. And the door is tapped right now, but oh my gosh, YG is just around this corner to collect. Chris LaBlitz will trade. We're in a 1v2 situation now. And the spike will be making its way all the way to C. A very aggressive plant. Actually, just a tap to be able to maybe lure out some players. They know their time's on their side, so they want to play around with it and let the mistakes come to them.
Definitely have time right now, but Conestoga also know that plane is eventually going to have to come down. And remember, they have no trouble giving up sight. They know they can coordinate push together.
What is happening? Where are they going? Willie, knife out in hand, has the
30
intuition that
seconds
something might happen here. Trying to isolate these fight spots. Both players, okay? Penny's dropped. Everyone's free sprinting now onto the A site. The plant's gonna come nice and safe as well. But 2v3 situation, a lot to have to go up against for the side of Concordia.
Down there
Is Crystal Bits
holding.
to maybe try to get first contact. Stun comes out nice and easy. Try and isolate these fights. Bit of a wall bang chip damage, but retreats to a bit more safe. A safe location. Sunter is taking initiative. Gonna satchel out, trying to get some of these fights. Really on the backstab. And Sunter with another to close things out. Once again, Condors giving themselves an advantage on their defender side.
Switching sides. Match point.
Well, now if you're Concordia, you have to win this next round to bring it into triple OT, because this is not only just match point, it's series point for Conestoga. You've given them a run for their money here on their map pick. But if you can't take it home, there's no chance of going to Pearl, and there's no chance of putting your first series win on the board today.
By any means necessary.
Yeah, and Kazuya doing the impossible right now, being an absolute glass cannon on that C side.
I'll find you.
We've seen the hit shots, but that's a bit of a gamble as well.
Spotted Tejo, but knows to back off.
Yeah, I like the asymmetry that's happening. You see, actually, Kazuya just pushing up all the way. They have to know that it has to be either a B or a C, A or A hit. Looks like it might be that middle site as well. The nades to hold off the advancements in this 3-2 split across Marmut. Being very patient with it, supported by Crystal Blitz on the other side, potentially with a flash. But now the pinch comes in. You see the flank as well. The spike comes in. Kazuya with a great opener onto Navik. Spike's not yet planted, so they're re-exploring the A side. It's gonna be Note that drops YG from the A side. The patience from the side of Concordia is great, and Kazuya will be able to isolate Bean as well. It's just left in a 2v5 situation, looking like Concordia will be able to maintain OT status and put another couple rounds on the board. Not if Sunset has something to say about it. The lineup, oh, there was a world. But Alchemy, safe pair of hands, bring ourselves back into OT.
Switching sides.
Yeah,
Overtime.
honestly, that did. You know, there was a world where that spray transfer came through for Sunter, which is a definite scary possibility. I think really the code here we're seeing from Concordia though is they have the numbers, they're able to do stuff. They really need that opening pick, because again, they did a great job playing together. The coordinated utility there on that B site to get Beanster pushed together, had the Chris, had that breach utility, beautiful. Navek though gonna find this opening pick here on this A site.
Off a Sunter's faster with the dashes and the lineups, just the headshots. The collab now Showstopper online to secure themselves a flawless round. It's over before you know it. Blink and you'll miss it. 15-4.
Match point.
Wow. Wow.
I think that was the first time that Concordia tried to contest A mound or A rubble, sorry, and they just got absolutely punished for it.
Oh, they got demolished right there.
Jeez. I mean, we talked about changing things up a little bit, bringing something new to the playbook. And unfortunately, that didn't work out. So once again, on Concordia's lap to regain that map point, or else it'll go to the side of the Condors.
It's like Condors might be trying the same thing. Playing a little bit more slow and deliberately. Marmoud might jiggle peek into this, be able to let the team know to rotate over. That smoke should be a little bit of an indication.
And Clove putting up the smoke to allow the rotates to come in. You see Sunter repositioning themselves onto the site, but this is the interesting part. A lot of discipline, honestly, from both sides right now. Like
the patience, like what I'm seeing.
About 40 seconds left. They'll have to make some sort of play. They're not even picking up board. They don't want any sound cues right now. They basically want to explode onto the site. But Clove is
30
wary
seconds
about
left.
this. Proactively putting down an aggressive smoke here. But here is the play coming in. The satchel in. Sunter will get seized, but somehow gets noked down from the hells. Nivik with another one of their own. This might be the closeout from the Condors in a 5v3.
planted.
Right now, Concordia trying to regain their composure in this retake. Kazuya on that glass cannon, trying to get some sort of pick onto this B long side, but no one is giving them this opportunity. We're paired up right now in stairs, trying to get around this corner. The great flash as well from this side, trying to isolate the fights. But Sunter gets Alchemy. It's not looking good for the side of Concordia. That's one down, but the trick gets out. We're in Yakuza. Zuya with a single operator, and YG just cleans it out after OT, after OT, after OT. Condors comes back swinging, and they bring themselves to a win. They drag their team through 16-14. And despite how well Concordia played on this Lotus map, they could not and would not bring us to a map 3. This is the series going to the side of Conestoga's Condors.
No Pearl for us today, Multi. No Pearl, unfortunate.
Damn.
Yeah, it was a great series, honestly, all things considered. After that 13-1 on Bind, the fact that Concordia were able to bring it into, what was that, triple OT there?
Yeah.
Double OT, triple OT? Yeah, insane. So definitely a team you want to look out for. Unfortunately, they're not able to put that first series win on, and Conestoga Condors remain undefeated. But we knew going into this, Conestoga was a good school. They're a good team. The fact that Concordia were able to bring Lotus, not their map pick as far as it did. I mean, definitely a team you want to look out for, because the standings might not show it right now, but the individual performance that we saw from them, even on Bind, didn't take home a lot of those round wins, but I saw the pieces starting to fall into place for them. I mean, some of those were close rounds and just came down to maybe like a nice multi-frag by Conestoga, because again, I mean, Conestoga is a seasoned team, but yeah, I would not count Concordia out just yet.
No, absolutely. I mean, looking at the scoreboard on the side of Concordia, you got Alchemy as well as Chris Leblitz, both sitting on 12 and 17 assists themselves. It's absolutely ridiculous, the type of, I feel like it's honestly a different team moving into Bind. They maybe just took a whole map to warm themselves up, but when they warm up, they're fired up. And yeah, Alchemy is right up there with Sunter, right, holding 22 kills of their own, trying to basically be the anchor for the side for the teams for Concordia right now. But unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. Conestoga just ran that marathon just a little bit more steady and pulled themselves to that finish line right there on Lotus.
Yeah, and I mean, Conestoga definitely deserves this win. As much as we're saying, really, really impressed by what Concordia was able to bring to Lotus. I mean, Conestoga definitely proved today why they're undefeated. I mean, that 13-1 on Bind should tell us everything we need to know that they're a powerhouse, to know that they're going to go far, especially we're just still in the Swiss group stage right now. But remember, playoffs are coming and we'll have grands later. Definitely got to keep your eye on Conestoga. But yeah, I mean, Concordia, I liked what I saw, and you're right. Maybe it just took a map to warm up, but by the time we got here into Lotus, I was seeing coordinated plays with utility, and I was seeing better positioning from them. We know, again, we knew all 10 players coming into this were good players. We knew that. But yeah, I mean, I really liked what I saw from the team, and I am surprised that they haven't won a series yet, because yeah, they didn't win this one, but if they play like they do on Lotus, I mean, it's hard for me to believe that they haven't been able to take one home yet, because I think they're a really good team.
Indeed, right? And it's a bit unfortunate, looking at the group standings right now after this particular best of 3, the Condors are going to be moving up. They'll have 3-0 basically under their belt, whereas Concordia have yet to put one on their win roster just yet. And so, then Fortunately, the group stages are still quite young. We still have many weeks to play, and so it is still a bit of a toss-up. No one team is yet eliminated out from group stages. It can go either way. So this is still anyone's fight to get into the knockout playoffs.
It definitely is. And this is just Group A too. This isn't even
Yeah,
the only group we
exactly.
have. Lots of good teams here, and I'm so excited for playoffs because just looking at the caliber of teams that we have here in the group stages, I mean, it's going to be a tough run, but at the end of the day, one team can say that well that they are the Canadian Collegiate League VAL Winter Series 2025 winner. Only one can be the grand champion.
Only one can be the grand
Only
champion
one.
indeed. So, be sure to we have games running every week, and you do want to be able to support your favorite players and favorite teams here, and it's going to be an absolute banger of games week after week. As you can tell from this 16-4 scoreline, it's so many collats. We have a few 4Ks here
Oh
and
my
there.
goodness.
Valorant cinema.
Valorant Cinema. I mean, really, you couldn't have asked, I think, for a better series today. In the fact that we ended on triple OT, I mean, absolute cinema, absolute cinema. But yeah, I mean, there's still, I believe, 2 more weeks left in the group stages. I think before we move on to the what is it, the top 16, I think, playoffs, something like that. Definitely, if you want more information, though, make sure you're following CCL. I believe the website is linked on their socials. It might be linked here also in chat, but make sure you definitely check that out because, again, like we said, this is only Group A. This is only one matchup from Group A. So tons and tons of good Valorant coming your way. 2 more weeks of phase one of the Swiss stage, and then we'll go to the wild card actually is coming up in March.
Yes,
I
yes.
forgot.
And so a quick
Single elimination, best of one. So
Yes. Yeah, so a quick reminder to all on how this works. We've got 3 groups, 6 teams each group, and so the top 3 teams from each group will be able to immediately qualify into the playoffs. But we will give a LCQ a last chance qualifier for the 9 teams. I'm mathing right. The 9 teams, the 3 bottom teams from each 3 groups, to be able to do, like you call it, a single elimination knockout series to have their last chance to qualify as the 10th team moving into the playoffs. So like you kind of talked about, it is going to be extremely tight. They know what is going to be on the line during LCQ, and they have to play their hearts out.
and of course, after that, the wildcard phase two will move into finally the playoffs phase three. Like you said, round of 10, top 10 teams, and there's some prize pool money on the line for the winners. But I think more than that, there's bragging rights. I mean, this is the Canadian
Oh,
Collegiate League. This is
yeah, it's
there's
it's
bragging
it's
rights
it's a
on the
badge of
line.
honor.
It
Straight
is
up
a badge of
bragging
honor.
honor. Drinks on the house, that kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking
Hmm.
about? Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
Oh yeah. Prize money is good, but bragging rights, those last forever.
Priceless.
The
This is not
It's
sponsored by
priceless.
MasterCard.
Not sponsored by MasterCard, but it is priceless. So definitely make sure you're following CCLVAL. Also, they're running Rainbow Six as well, I believe, CCL. So lots of good games. Make sure you're following them so you can stay up to date and you can follow these brackets to see which of your favorite teams is making it out on top.
Indeed, indeed. And so, I once again I want to thank CCL for having me, Multitudes, as a caster here. It's been extremely fun to be able to have, and a huge shout out to some of the background staff as well. We've got Ken running production, as well as Arson Fire running OBS, giving us those great angles on the action. And once again, Kazarina, I want to thank you for having me here to cast alongside you.
So much fun. This is our first first chance to cast together, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, thank you to all of the production staff and the tournament staff for making this possible. Thank you to the teams for playing, and also thank you to the viewers for watching. I mean, we're doing this to bring you guys the Valorant action, and so it means a lot that you guys are excited and following this. And yeah, thank you multitudes for casting with me today. It was a blast.
It was a blast indeed. And so I think that will be about it for us. You know, we've been your casters, Multitudes and Kazarine. You can follow us on our socials as well. Thank you so much. We'll stay tuned. We have R6. We have weekly Valorants. We want to make sure you're there for every single game. Don't go, well, we'll be leaving, but we want to be able to see you in our next stream. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Good day.